Well, a fine good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome to the Mahoney County Board of Elections. It's about 8:30. And before this meeting is called to order, we've got some administrative chores to take care of. I note that both myself and member Bob Wasco have been reappointed to the Board of Elections. I was sworn in last night by Judge Joe Hauser. And this morning we're joined by, we've got a special guest this morning, Judge Joe Schiavone, who stopped by this morning. And at this time I would invite Bob, please stand, and Judge, if you would please swear in member Wasco.
Very good. I first want to apologize for everybody for holding you up and not being dressed properly and not shaving. But I'm glad there were no cops on Mahoning Avenue because I was at my office. I thought this was at 8 p.m. I was going to get my robe and look real nice and put a suit on, but this is what we're working with. Okay?
You're good.
But I will say that, I've known Bob forever, and he's a guy that truly is fair every day to every person that he encounters, and that's something that, for me, I always love about him and appreciate and know that that's what makes a great board member. So, all right, Bob, are you ready?
Yep.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Robert Wasco,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the state of Ohio,
of the United States and the state of Ohio,
that I will enforce the election laws,
that I will enforce the election laws,
protect and preserve the records and property
protect and preserve the records and property
pertaining to elections,
pertaining to elections,
and perform my duties
and perform my duties
as a member of the Board of Elections
as a member of the Board of Elections
to the best of my
to
ability.
the best of my ability.
This I shall do
This I shall do,
as I shall answer unto God.
as I shall enter to God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's why all the employees are in here.
Because we reappoint every 2 years.
We have to reappoint them? I don't know about that place.
I'm not leaving.
While Judge Schiavone and Bob Wasco conclude some administrative chores, I would also like to introduce Sandy Barger. Sandy, as you are aware, member Tracy Winbush resigned a little more than 2 weeks ago to become a candidate for mayor of Youngstown, which created another vacancy on the board. And the Republican Party Executive Committee met and has recommended that the Sandy Barger be appointed by the Secretary of State. Now, the paperwork in Columbus sometimes moves slowly. And so Sandy does not have her appointment yet, but I invited her to join us this morning so I could introduce her, so she could get a chance to meet the staff. So please be sure to get a chance to say hi to Sandy before you leave this morning.
Thanks,
But
Mom.
Sandy, thank you for being here. Just have a seat.
Hi Sandy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
If Bob ever promises to take you out for a steak dinner,
Oh,
don't.
okay.
It won't happen, you'll wind up with a cheese sandwich.
Now, at this time, the board is called to order. The director, please call the roll.
Mr. Monroe.
Here.
Mr. Wasco.
Here.
Mr. Beaver.
Here,
At this time, I would ask us all to take just a moment of silence for reflection. And if you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, it's my recommendation that we take this agenda out of order. We need to do the reorganization first. Is there any objection? At this,
I don't have a vote, but go ahead.
at this time, it would be in order for us to appoint a temporary chairman to chair the reorganization meeting. Is there a motion to appoint, say, Bob Wasco as temporary chairman?
Also move.
I second. Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beach?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco.
So the first step here is to appoint a director
That is correct.
of the board.
That is correct.
So is there a motion to appoint Joyce Kilpesta as director of the board?
I move to appoint Joyce Kilpesta as Director of the Board of Elections.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Call the roll.
We call the roll.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beach?
A resounding yes.
Congratulations, Joyce.
Thank you very much.
The third step is to appoint a deputy director. Is there a motion to appoint Thomas McCabe as the deputy director of the Board of Elections?
I nominate Mr. McCabe to serve as the Deputy Director of the Mahoney County Board of Elections.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Director, please call the roll.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes?
Mr. Beach?
Just a regular yes.
The last step of my temporary chairmanship is to elect the chairman of the board. Is there a motion to appoint Mark Monroe as chairman of the board?
I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Director, call the roll.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beach?
Yes.
Very good.
Mark, there's
Congratulations.
a list of the employees in your folder.
Thank you, Mr. Wasco. Fine job. At this time, the board is going to consider the reappointment of the full-time staff members.
Questions?
Well, we could do that also. It's been, well, it's not mandatory, it's not required, but it's been our tradition to also appoint a person to serve as vice chairman of the Board of Elections. And is there a motion to, is there a motion
I
to?
nominate Bob Wasco to be Vice Chairman of the Board of Elections.
I nominate, I was gonna nominate you.
I'll nominate you.
You see, it gets complicated sometimes. These things are not always easy. Well, I note that the first nomination was made by Mr. Wasco. We should consider that first. I second the nomination.
Of David Beatrice. Who made the first?
No, I'm sorry, it was Mr. Beatrice that made the nomination of Mr. Wasco. And I second the nomination. Any discussion? Director, call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beach?
Yes.
Congratulations.
That was a little surprise for
You
me.
have the list of employees.
Yeah, I've got two red folders here, so it gets complicated. No, it's this one. At this time, I will entertain a motion that the following Democrats be rehired as full-time clerks of the Board of Elections: Danny O'Neill, Ann Sims, Diane Raptis, Gina Pilati, Nasib Khalil, and Lorraine Shortino.
This is the only time I get to be a big shot.
You're a big shot all the time.
Yes, I'll second that.
You're making a motion.
I make a motion to hire all those people.
I second.
And I note that Mr. Khalil's position is unique in that he's on temporary status through the end of August as a full-time employee. So there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Director, call the roll.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beach?
Yes.
On the Republican side, is there a motion that Chris Rackesee, Ray Butler, Sue Lascola, Dante Lewis and Jill Downey be rehired as full-time clerks.
I so move.
Second?
Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Beatrice?
Yes.
Also, is there a motion that the John Blue be hired again to serve a parallel capacity with Nasib Khalil as a probationary temporary employee through August of 2021?
I so move.
Second?
Discussion? Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Beatrice?
Yes.
Very good. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
At this time, it's my pleasure to administer the oath to the newly hired or rehired staff. If the staff would stand, please. If you raise your right hand, say aye and state your name,
I, Danielle O'Neill,
and then repeat after me. Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the constitutions
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and this state,
of the United States and this state,
will faithfully perform all the duties of
will faithfully perform all the duties of
Clerk of the Board of Elections
Clerk of the Board of Elections
of Mahoney County
of Mahoney County
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
enforce the election laws,
enforce the election laws,
and will preserve and keep
And will
preserve and keep
all records, documents, and other property
all records, documents, and other property
pertaining to the conduct
pertaining to conduct
of elections placed in my custody.
of elections placed in my custody.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone, you can sign your papers and bring them back to me, and then we'll notarize them.
Okay. She said bring it back.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nice to meet you, Sam.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, John.
At this time, we will resume our regular agenda. We have in front of us the meeting minutes of the February 12th special regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
I so move.
Second?
Discussion? Director call the roll.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Beatrice?
Yes.
Under Chairman's report, I think I've already done my duty for this morning. And let's move directly to the Director's report.
Well, we are in the process, everybody's back to work full-time, we're through the COVID, even though, still pending, but we have to get back to work, prepare for the primary, because it's early this year, May 4th. So we're getting everything prepared for that. You have in front of you early voting hours. You must approve the schedule for the training classes, and then also you have in front of us the write-ins for President of Council so far. Well, the write-in time is over, so these will be the write-ins for
For the primary.
the primary election. Other than that, we're just moving along, still, getting preparations. I think there are 65 or 68 precincts in this election. It's all of Youngstown, all of Struthers, and part of the Sebring School District, and there's 6 precincts in the Sebring School District. So it's not going to be a big election, but we're going to conduct it the way we would any election, for the security of the votes.
Speaking of the write-in candidates, is there a motion to certify the 4 write-in candidates to the, not to the ballot, but as write-in candidates? There
For
are,
what position?
it's for the position of President of Youngstown City Council, Thomas Hetrick, the main kitchen.
You have the main kitchen as a write-in?
You were on conference call because you were sick, remember? And he did not, his petitions were not certified.
Insufficient signatures.
Yes, insufficient signatures.
And also Lee David Pupillo and Chris Travers. There are four candidates who've filed to be write-ins for the primary election. Is there a motion to approve these write-ins as presented?
I so move.
Second.
Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Beechers?
Yes.
Also, I don't think we've done it yet this year, but you must travel for any board members or any staff that have to travel. I actually have to travel at the end of March to Columbus because they're making me secretary of the Ohio Association. So, we will be having some travel issues coming up, and I think maybe they'll have a winter conference next year. I don't know if they'll have a summer conference, but I know they'll have a winter conference, you know, so,
Which is about the retreat.
yes, yes.
I
Are
think
you going to?
I'm going to
Yes,
attend.
because you're on the,
Yes.
so.
Just for the Friday session, though.
So anyway.
I'll be down just for the Friday session.
Well, I make a motion for a travel blanket approval for the year 2021 for any board staff or board members.
Right. I think, once Sandy gets appointed, she'll have to go down for training for, you know, new board member. So unless they do it virtually.
Did you, I sent you my thing showing I was there. Did you take care of that for me, by the way?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, there's a motion and a second that,
There was a
There was no
second.
second.
A second.
now there is a motion and a second that the travel for staff, board members for the year 2021 be approved as necessary. Any discussion? Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beechers?
Yes.
And do we have a schedule of the classes of instruction,
Yes,
Joyce?
you do, sir, in front of you, it says
There we
training
go.
schedule.
Right here, here we go. Here we go.
And we're gonna start, I'm actually only training eight people at a time because it's such a small election and I want to, train them correctly. I'm actually going over with staff on Wednesday, the poll workers, the people in charge of poll workers and the people in charge of election setup. I want to, go over with them the problems that we had in the general. And I wanna get them worked out for the problems that we had, that we'll have coming up and, training the poll workers is a big part of it, you know. So we're gonna train them smaller classes, you know, more one-on-one.
Is there a motion to approve the training schedule as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco? Mr. Beechers?
Yes.
Also, is there a motion that the director be authorized to hire the necessary part-time staff for the May primary election?
I so moved.
Second?
Discussion? Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beechers?
Yes.
Is there anything else to consider this morning? Is there any public comment this morning?
I would just like to say something for the crazy weather.
Mr.
I'd ask you
Beatrice?
all to keep my son in your prayers. He left yesterday, I don't know where he's at, couldn't tell me, I couldn't ask, so. As you all know, he's in special operations, and with everything, I mean, he just called and said bye.
Oh, God.
So, I'd ask you all to keep him in your prayers, please. I got in a little bit of a fight with him, so, I didn't leave too good on terms with him, but, you know, he was all teeth. I said, what are you all teeth about? He said, well, I go do my job. I said, well, they're gonna fire back at you. He goes, well, I'll try to stay alive, Dad.
Oh, God.
I said, that's the most messed up thing you could say to your father in your lifetime. And I hung the phone up on him.
Did he talk to Pam? Did he call Pam? Oh,
She's,
yeah, she tried herself.
it's just, it's not a good.
No.
Sounds just like to be-
Godspeed, Dave.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Wasco?
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session concerning public employee. And I'd like to have Joyce and Tom's in the public executive session.
To consider this is a personnel matter?
Yes.
To consider the hiring, firing, or compensation of a public employee?
Correct.
There's a motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second
Is there a
that.
second? Director call the roll.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beechers?
Yes.
I just started that. Okay, one more time. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
I so moved.
Second.
Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasco?
Yes.
Mr. Beechers?
Yes.
Is there any unfinished business to consider this morning? Is there any other new business? Any board communications to report?
Mr. Chairman.
Anything for the good of the order? Our next regular meeting is set for Tuesday, April the 6th at 8 a.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
Second.
Director call the roll?
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Wasko?
Yes.
Mr. Beatrice?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.